Do people call you successful, strong, accomplished, and blessed, but deep down your marriage feels like a private emergency nobody can see? Did they tell you that's just marriage? It's hard. Relationships are hard. A good woman adjusts. A man must have patience. Love takes sacrifice. While you sit there feeling disrespected, emotionally hungry, confused, angry, ashamed, and too smart to pretend you don't see the collapse happening right in front of you. If you're a wife, a woman in love, a high-functioning partner, maybe even still dating or trying to save a relationship, and you feel like you're carrying the whole emotional weight of the connection by yourself, this message is for you. Give me just 5 minutes for this deep dive. One of my clients is a nurse practitioner, and she's also a clinical director. She manages patients, staff, systems, pressure, emergencies, and outcomes. In public, she looks composed. In her career, she's respected. And in her marriage, she walks into her own home and feels like a guest with bills. Now, after a 14-hour shift, she comes home and she finds out her husband has allowed a cousin, someone who has already brought conflict into their marriage, to move back into the house without even consulting her. Not discussing it, not leading it, not protecting the boundary, just deciding, or worse, allowing it and expecting her to adjust. But when she tries to talk about it like an adult, he tells her she is controlling and leaves the house. Like literally just storms out. Hours later, she sees him online at a lounge, laughing, relaxed, outside, with the same cousin and another woman she has already had questions about. That moment broke something open in her, because now she has to face three painful truths at the same time. She's the highest earner, yet has no authority. She's married, yet deeply alone. And she's publicly admired, yet privately dismissed. So when she says marriage is not for everyone, at any chance she gets, it sounds like an opinion, just an innocent opinion, but really it is pain talking. It is disappointment talking. It is identity fragmentation talking. And let me be clear, that kind of sentence is usually not philosophy, okay? Of course, there's truth to it. That's why it lands, right? It is a symptom. This is where people get it wrong. They think the problem is marriage itself. No, the problem is mismanaged structure, mismanaged expectation. The problem is power without protection, love without leadership, proximity without intimacy, and commitment without emotional skill. Even research-backed relationship work has warned for years that contempt is one of the most toxic forces in a marriage, and the Gottman Institute describes it as the #1 predictor of divorce. When a relationship fills up with eye-rolling, dismissal, moral superiority, blame, sarcasm, and quiet disgust, love does not just fade, it gets poisoned. And this is bigger than romance. Troubled marriages and chronic couple stress are also linked with healthy strain through stress pathways affecting the body over time. So when I tell you not to normalize misery in love, I'm not just being dramatic, I'm being honest. Let's go deeper. One of the greatest lies in modern marriage is this: if he provides, just be grateful. That's a problem. That's a no. Provision without protection is incomplete. Another lie is a good woman adjusts. Adjust to what? To chaos? Boundary violations, passive leadership, intimacy, starvation. Listen, healthy partnership requires flexibility, yes, but not self-erasure. Respect, trust, and submission are earned in the mid to long term, not demanded as a shortcut. That is why by this point in the story, she needs one tactical win. Something she can do today, something today she can do today, not tomorrow, not when he changes. Today, here it is. Stop arguing your pain to someone committed to misunderstanding your pain and start documenting the structure. Write down the repeated pattern in these 3 columns. What happened, what it cost you emotionally, and what boundary was missing. That one exercise shifts you from emotional fog to structural clarity. It stops the spiral of maybe I'm overreacting and starts the truth of this pattern has a shape. Because once you can name the structure, you can stop worshiping the confusion. Now, let me give you the GPS forensic audit. Let's map this to the GPS, because this is where real transformation starts. Everything falls apart when people try to fix relationships only from emotion. You need a system. Okay, GPS stands for grounding, purpose, and self. First, the G stands for grounding in gratitude and God. Before you decide whether to stay or leave, your nervous system has to come back home to itself. Gratitude is not denial. Gratitude is stabilization. It reminds you that this painful chapter is not the full report of your life. Grounding in God, in faith, in prayer, in stillness, in values bigger than this current chaos is how you stop making permanent decisions from temporary emotional flooding. Second, P stands for purpose, driven by pain. Pain by itself will make you bitter. Pain with purpose can make you precise. Instead of spending all your energy proving that you are right about how wrong your partner is, redirect some of that energy into your mission, your calling, your health, your contribution, your growth. The 6 emotional needs human beings chase: certainty, variety, significance, connection, growth, and contribution do not disappear because your marriage is shaky. They just get distorted because purpose helps realign them. And third, S stands for self, the unit source of truth. This is where we retrieve your attention from the person who has been mishandling it. Self-leadership is not selfishness. It doesn't also mean selflessness. It is the foundation of sustainability. If you have stopped taking care of yourself, stopped refining your communication, stopped regulating your triggers, stopped being intentional about your energy, style, confidence, softness, standards, and emotional intelligence, then the relationship becomes a mirror of your depletion. I'm not blaming you. When you have worked on yourself, then you can have enough value to share and seduce a partner to desire serving you and making you happy. That is why I say a lot of marriages do not fail because of one evil villain. I know it might seem that way. I know you might be able to justify it. They fail because pride and expectations were mismanaged. They fail because friendship erodes. Sex becomes mechanical or absent. Expectations turn into unspoken contracts, and ego becomes more important than connection. They fail because people poison the atmosphere with blame, judgment, shame, condescension, guilt, sarcasm, and being right obsessed, even though, yes, you can justify. They fail because all the anti-seducer behaviors are everywhere: consciousness, reactivity, moral policing, and lack of self-control, and many more. And here's the uncomfortable truth: whether she stays or leaves, there may still be grief, there may still be regret. So the question is not which choice has zero pain. It doesn't exist. The question is which path reserves or preserves self while honoring truth. Society benefits when families stay together, yes, but self must be preserved first, not ego, self. I know you are probably worried about how to hold your partner accountable. We have to lay the foundation though. That foundation is self-accountability and self-empowerment. This is why in the last video, when we talked about why 75% of relationships fail and the missing piece was not chemistry. It wasn't chemistry. It was not prayer alone. It was not endurance alone. It was skill, relational skill, emotional intelligence, power, awareness, social foresight, intentional influence, knowing when to nurture, when to pause, when to lead, when to pull back, when to enforce boundaries, and when to stop begging for what should require no begging. And let me say this too: marriage still matters. Love still matters. Commitment still matters. The CDC reports that more than 2 million marriages were reported in the United States, while divorce data still show hundreds of thousands of legal dissolution. So yes, people still believe in marriage nowadays, and yes, you can see the weddings everywhere. But belief is not enough. Hope is not enough. Attraction is not enough. Skill is what sustains. Everything I shared here is easier said than done, but highly rewarding. If you're ready to stop guessing and start building the love life you actually desire, go to manofprestige.com, join the Prestige Inner Circle, and I'll see you inside. Quick warning: you can ask an AI for a script on how to talk to your husband or to your wife. You can get ChatGPT to give you a list of self-care tips. But the reality, an algorithm cannot see the structural breach in your home. It can't feel the weight of the silence after a 14-hour shift. AI provides data. The inner circle provides architecture, okay? It's more of an art than it's an exact science. One is a search engine, the other is a lifeline. With that being said, don't forget to subscribe to this channel and turn on your notifications so you can keep learning how to move through marriage, relationships, dating, love, and modern emotional dynamics with wisdom instead of confusion. So here's the debate question for the comments. When a marriage loses boundaries, intimacy, and respect, do you believe love can rebuild the structure, or does staying too long become self betrayal? This is Ola at Man of Prestige.